the No Limiter Podcast, where we interview top business owners, entrepreneurs, and creators in every industry to help you set record-breaking months. Here's your host of the No Limiter Podcast, Regina Eileen Woodard.
You are listening to the No Limiter Podcast. I am your host, Regina Eileen Woodard. You know, I'm super excited today because this young lady, she's a little older than me because she's old enough to be my mother. I call her like my other mom. Her name is Brenda Davis. Every time I introduce her, I always want to give her whole government name because you know what I'm looking to do? I'm looking to brand Brenda Davis, the realtor that moves you. She's our special guest on our podcast today, and I'm super excited to talk about her because she actually has sold me the last 3 homes I've bought in the last 15 years. I met Brenda by the way of my dad, who is now looking down from heaven. Actually, Brenda sold my dad's house in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, many years ago. Did you know that, Dr. T?
Yes, I did know that. You shared that with me quite some time ago. So I'm excited and I'm glad that Brenda was able to handle your needs. And certainly when I'm in the market to sell my home, because, you know, I would not be living in Michigan forever. So when I sell my home, I'm going to call Brenda Davis because she's my realtor now too. So, yay.
It's all about relationships, building relationships. Yeah. You know, if you're looking for a car, you're looking for a house, you're looking for a therapist, you know, you have all those people out there, but a warm referral is the best referral in the whole wide world.
That's real. And I like how you said that because relationship matters. Mm-hmm. All 3 of the things you said are important. Number 1, I know Brenda's going to talk about purchasing a house. That may be your biggest purchase, but also a car is probably your second biggest purchase. And then there's no price limit that you can put on your mental health. So all of those things that you just said, those are phenomenal things. And it all involves relationship. You got to have a relationship with your dealers, with you, the queen of car loans. If I'm going to purchase a car, I have to have a relationship with Brenda if I'm going to purchase a home. And absolutely, you must have a relationship with your therapist in order to get the treatment that you need.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I honestly believe that when it comes to a house, people don't really prepare. You know, people, it's easy to go buy a car than it is a house, but people don't know how to prepare. And that's the one thing why I'm so excited about our interview right now is because we're going to give you tips and tricks on things, how you prepare to actually buy that house. You got to put that, you got to put that vision in order. But anyway, we're going to bring on Brenda Davis, the realtor that moves you. She is associate broker at Century 21.
Hello, Regina. Hi, Dr. T.
Hey, Brenda.
How are you?
I'm doing real good. How are you?
Wonderful. Doing great. It's a great day today.
Brenda Davis, she is the realtor that moves you. She is associate broker at Century 21 Town and Country in Rochester, Michigan. She serves Oakland County, Wayne County, surrounding areas. You know, if you need some advice, she is the realtor you want to call. I'm going to give you her number up front. It's 248-909-9711. 248-909-9711. And you know what? I don't know everybody number by heart, but I dialed Brenda's number so many times during the purchase when I was looking to purchase my home. I got on her nerves because I called her when I wanted to call her, and then everybody doesn't always. When I call, I left a message. And the reason about the time she got back with me. But I just remember that number because I dialed that number like I used to dial the time back in the day. If anybody remembers back in the day, when you dialed the time, do you remember that, Dr. T?
I do.
What was that number? 3333. You remember that number? 6022?
It was 6022, but I remember information 1555-1515. Okay.
Right.
That was called the information when I needed to know something because we didn't have Google back then. So if you needed to know something, you had to dial information.
You sure did. And the operators would sometimes get upset with you because
be mad at you.
You were supposed to be phoning for phone numbers, not for an answer to your social studies
Okay. That's good though, because now we know we can call Brenda Denise Davis phone and she will help us. And we may have a kid in the back. If I'm trying to purchase a house, I may have a kid in the back working on the social study program question, and I might have to ask you. Okay.
All right. Well, just give me a call. I'll do what I can to help you, no matter what.
That's good. That's good.
I'm here to serve.
Listen.
Well, you know what? Our relationship goes way back, but I glad that you're on our platform because you want to be with someone that you can trust and someone's going to have your back, because some people are not ready now, but they may be ready later. But Brenda Denise Davis, just tell us a little bit about you.
Well, first, I'd like to say thank you, Regina Eileen Woodard, for such a fine introduction.
My government name.
I am going to make a correction, though. My office is not located in Rochester. We're on Rochester Road in Troy.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
But you got the phone number right. You got that down.
Listen, you gave us Rochester and Troy. Okay, she got two landmark locations. So she said,
Rochester Road in Troy. I know.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, but I got that number 248-909-9711. That's Brenda Denise Davis, the realtor that moves you. Telephone number.
You got it. You got it. Thank you so much for that.
So Brenda, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I have been in the real estate business now for going on 23 years. It doesn't seem that it's been that long, but it has. I'm now currently the assistant manager in my office in Troy. So I've kind of added to my responsibilities, but I get the most joy out of working individually with my clients. That brings me so much joy and happiness and a sense of fulfillment. Because when you're working with, whether it's a couple who have been married for a while and they're just purchasing their new home, or they're been married for a while and have been in a home for several years and they're deciding that they want to move up, their needs have changed, family size has grown. Even for singles, young singles now are really becoming very educated and becoming very, very knowledgeable about the importance of home ownership and what it can do for you financially. So, I've had an opportunity to work with first-time buyers as well. And it's just been a great ride for me. I have established so many relationships with so many good people. Just using as an example, you and I, Regina, had it not been for your dad, had it not been for this business, I would not know you. And you've been such a blessing to me. You've become a part of my family. We all love you dearly. So, relationships that I have established with my clients, we have really become friends. It's more than just a business working relationship. I admired your dad an awful lot, had an utmost respect for him. And, he wanted us to develop a relationship, and that we certainly have. And it's a lifetime relationship. So this business has been very good to me, and hopefully I've served my clients in a way where I've been a benefit to them and a blessing to one another. And so with those 22 years in the real estate business, I come from the insurance background. So before I ever got started into real estate, I was working for several insurance companies where I handled an array of claims. I was a claims adjuster. I handled auto injury related claims on the medical side, and then I handled auto related liability claims, which were litigated claims due to the injuries sustained. That gave me an opportunity to work with architects, with professionals such as doctors and nurses and rehab facilities, as well as attorneys. So that was a great experience for me. I learned an awful lot. I enjoyed what I did. And again, I was in the business of helping people. So one day this light came on. I came home from work.
The light came on?
You had a light bulb moment.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that I would give real estate a try. Wow. And so I received a postcard in the mail, never forget it, from Century 21 Town and Country almost 23 years ago, soliciting real estate agents. And even though the day to respond had already passed, I told my husband, I'm going to call them. I'm not going to go in and sit down and talk with someone. And I did that. took the real estate classes, passed the state exam, and the rest of it is history. So
Did you
it's been
pass it the first
just,
time?
yes, I did.
Wow.
And I got my results from the state of Michigan on the day of Christmas Eve. What a Christmas present.
That is awesome. So,
Yeah.
Brenda, you have some longevity in the game. So,
Yeah.
walk me through the process. If I'm a first-time home buyer and I'm coming to you, walk me through the process of what that looks like.
Well, you want to prepare yourself. And there are a couple of things that you need to plan for. And I think first and foremost is making sure that you're credit worthy. You know, even to buy a car, you have to have a particular credit score, and that most certainly applies to purchasing a new home. It's going to be probably the most money you invest in anything in your lifetime. And so in order to get that pre-approval, to get that mortgage that you're going to need, you're going to need a good credit score. Secondly, you're going to have some money put away because you're going to have to pay a down payment. If you're approved FHA, you're going to need at least 3 to 5%, depending on the amount of the home that you're purchasing. But you need that just as a down payment. And then you have closing costs to talk about. You've got to be able to pay 14 months worth of taxes, 12 months worth of insurance, home insurance for your property. You have other expenses that you're going to incur there as well. So you've got to plan. It's not something that for most of us just happens overnight. You've got to plan, get your credit in order, be able to get that mortgage and that pre-approval, make sure that you have the money set aside to provide for the down payment and the closing costs. So those are probably the most important steps. Once you've accomplished that, then that's when you and I need to get together. And you know what? It doesn't hurt for us to get together even before that, because I can help lead you along the way. So when you're starting to get that thought in mind that you're seriously considering purchasing a home, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's see what I can do to help you and help that whole process a little bit easier for you.
People are doing a lot of FHA, conventional loans. What type of loans, what type of mortgages are a lot of individuals getting to this day? Because of the market?
It varies on your, depending on your credit score. It varies on the amount of money you can afford to put down. The more money you put down, the better, because it's going to eliminate that PMI, private mortgage insurance. If you put anything less than 20% down, you may be approved for an FHA loan, which is a government-backed loan. You're going to have private mortgage insurance. And so that tacked onto your principal and interest that you'll pay for your mortgage. Then you've got your taxes and your insurance added onto that. And then you have anywhere from probably at minimum about $120 extra a month paying for that private mortgage insurance. And you'll have to continue to pay that until you get 20% equity, or the equivalent of what would have been a 20% down payment.
Wow. Brenda, the economy that we're in now is causing us to be a little alarmed, because you see the increase in food, you see the increase in gas. So I'm sure that you have some viewers that are saying, is this the right time to buy a house? So can you elaborate a little bit on that for us?
I sure will. And Dr. T and Regina, we have discussed interest rates between us previously. Interest rates have gone up. Let's face it, if you had great credit, you could get as low as a 2.3 just a few months ago. Yeah. Now the interest rates have increased to almost 5.5%.
Yeah.
But with that said, and I've said it before, when my husband and I first bought our first home, we paid 11%. So, 5.5% is a drop in the bucket. It may seem high to those who have never purchased a home before, or even high to those who have a home that they're wanting to sell right now. But what goes up always comes down.
What's that year? I mean, not trying to put your business out there, but 11% was what, 30 years ago, 20, 25, what? How many years ago was
we
that?
talking about some years ago. We're talking
60s?
about, let's see, we were in the early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you say
That's-
60s, Regina?
I don't know why I went to 60.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know
wait
why
a
you went
minute.
to 60.
Brenda,
I don't
Brenda
know.
wasn't buying no house in the 60s. I don't
Yeah,
think.
people were buying houses
I
in the
said
60s.
Brenda.
I was not, I
Brenda-
wasn't even in
But you know what?
high
I'm
school
sorry
in the
because
60s.
you're younger than what my parents were. That's why I went to 60s because my dad, they bought the house that I still own, that I grew up in the 60s. So I do apologize. I should have said that.
It's all right. I'll make you pay when I see you in person.
But the reason I wanted to put the year, to expound on the when in the 80s is because in the 80s, when people paid 10, 11% for a mortgage,
Yeah.
they had no problem. If you tell a person now that they're going to pay 11%, they're about to throw up on you.
Fall out, Regina. I mean,
Right,
just
fall
have a whole
out and
temper
have
tantrum.
Mhm.
2 heart
Yeah.
attacks. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's real.
So we just got to think about how it was in the 80s, right now to 2022.
Yeah.
No, that was the point of me kind of just trying to bring that full circle. Things have changed so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they have because, as I said, we paid 11%, but there were some that paid as high as 13%.
Yeah.
Yes. See?
So, again, it depends on what your credit is like. That will determine what type of rate that you get. But again, as I said earlier, what goes up comes down. And so I will always say that investing in a home, purchasing and having your own home is going to be worth every dollar that you spend. And particularly so in today's market. Yeah, the interest rates are higher. Yeah, the cost of a house is more than it had been, but so are rents.
Yeah.
And so if you're in a situation where you're leasing, I have seen 2-bedroom condos or apartments that are going for $1,800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you getting from that? You're getting a roof over your head, but you're not getting any type of tax write-off for property taxes. You're not getting any write-off for the interest that you pay. Yeah, at 5.5%, you realize what that can do for you at the end of the year when you file your taxes. We can only take credit for property taxes and mortgage insurance now on your income taxes. Just about everything else has been eliminated. So when you do that, you're paying yourself to provide room and board for yourself and your family. And not only that, for every year that you live in your home, the value increases. And you can expect at least 3 to 5%. And that's in a normal market. Right now, people are appreciating as much as 12% in some markets as a rate of return. But you earn equity in your house every year that you live there. So not only are you getting a tax break, you're paying yourself to live in your own property, you're also earning equity. So at some point in time, if you should decide you want to sell that house 5, 6, 7 years down the road, you've earned money that you can take when you sell that property for more than what you paid for it. That's the equity. That's the equity, the difference in what you paid for it and what you can sell it for. You take that money and you go buy yourself another home. But home ownership is very important. It's just a way of establishing wealth is what it is. It's a way of establishing wealth. And, it's unfortunate that so many of us are not aware of the value of home ownership. And I try to preach that because it really means a lot to educate our young people. You don't want to spend the next 5 or 6 years living in someone else's apartment or someone else's condo, and you're paying their rent for them and you're fattening their pockets. You're not.
They might want to, though. They might want to.
Yes, but you know what, Brenda, I like what you said because I remember the other day we had a conversation and you said it's always a good time to buy a house. Always. And what you said to me was that if the interest rate is up even today, if you stay in your house 5, 10 years, you've earned your money back already. And now you have equity in the house. So talk to us a little bit about, how equity is accrued and why is it always a good time to purchase? Because I know you're saying you'll get, some return, but kind of talk to us about that.
Okay, that equity. Say, for instance, you buy your house today and you pay $350,000 for it. And you live in that house for, let's say, 5 years. And then you decide you want to sell that house. Well, that house that you bought for 350,000 5 or 6 years ago, in the market during that 5 or 6 years later, that house is probably worth well more. I'll use myself as an example. I bought my home and I paid under 200,000 for it.
Mm-hmm.
In today's market, I can get close to five.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's what you call equity.
Yes.
I have far exceeded what I paid for this house when we bought it. Now, granted, we've been here a while, but if you stay in your house 5 and 6 years and you can earn $25,000, $30,000,
Yeah.
is that a bad thing? I don't think so.
You also got to talk about too, when you stay in the house, you got to do updates. You can't just stay in your house and don't do anything too. So let's talk a little about that, because you have done updates. You just not have to live at your house, because some people think they can just get all this equity and they do nothing to their house.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because another thing I always tell my homeowners, if they're first-time buyers or otherwise, when you purchase a home, there's always going to be something that either you need to fix or repair, or something that you want to change. I don't care if it's something as simple as the paint or the carpet on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to change something. You're going to want to improve something. And sooner or later, something is going to need repair or replacement. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just a part of the game. You buy a car. At some point, you got to get the oil changed. That's
Oh, yeah.
maintenance.
Got to
So
take care of it.
maintenance is going to be maybe carpet and paint, or having your, better yet, having your furnace tuned up every year, having your air
Yeah.
conditioning checked every year. That's called maintenance. But because you're performing that maintenance or having that maintenance done on a yearly basis, then the chances of that air conditioner or that furnace going out on you is pretty slim.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, there's a such thing in today's world as a home warranty. And the home
That's
warranty
good.
that we sell, and I try to encourage my purchasers, my buyers, that in this market, it's a rarity that the homeowner is offering you a home warranty. Very rare, because they have buyers giving them everything. They're not giving up anything. But it does not prevent that buyer from paying $500, $400, depending on the type of coverage he wants, for a 12-month policy, that if the refrigerator conks out, you pay a $95 service charge. They come out, and whatever the problem is, they fix it. If they
That's great.
can't fix it, they replace it. Now, if you have a GE, they may give you a Samsung, but it's going to be comparable to that refrigerator that no longer works. If your furnace goes out and you have a train, if they can't fix it, they're going to replace it. And they may replace it with a Carrier, but it's going to be comparable to that furnace that they are replacing. So there are some ways to get around incurring expensive repairs just by buying the home warranty. You know, that kind of gives you a little bit of ease, especially when you're a first-time buyer. You're trying to adjust your budget and get used to this leap that you've taken. Who needs to go buy a new furnace or new air conditioning? You know, again, that's something that once you find a home that you like, then you have an inspection period. Once your offer is accepted by the homeowner, you have a 7-day, usually 7-day, maybe 10, that's stretching it, but at least 7 days from the date of acceptance of your offer in which to have a professional home inspector come and inspect that home. And a good home inspector will inspect the entire exterior around the perimeter of the home, the roof, the bricks, make sure that the grading is proper, the plumbing is good. They look at the furnace, they check the air conditioner, they check the appliances, they look at the roof. So once you have that home inspection, you have a pretty good idea of the overall condition of that home, which helps you as a consumer make a better decision. Do you want to proceed to closing and purchase this house? Or are you saying to yourself, wow, this house needs a lot more than I thought it would need. And, you know, I'm no longer interested. And we just keep looking. But there are a lot of things, a lot of information that I share with my homeowners and my purchasers, be it a first-time buyer or someone who not new to the market at all. but we're in an ever-changing world, and real estate is forever changing as well. So what was going on 5 or 10 years ago, it's not necessarily what's happening out here today.
Let's talk about being pre-approved because, I know when people come to buy a car, some of them are not thinking about, oh, I need to get pre-approved. I want to pick up what I want, and, I don't know whether I can buy it or not. But when it comes to a house, honestly, should they think about getting pre-approved or have been pre-approved already before they come see you? Or should they just call you and say, I'm ready to go look at houses? And you got to say, are you pre-approved? What's the process with that? I just wanted to back it up a little bit because sometimes people get confused what the process, what the initial process should be.
Okay, well, we touched base on that slightly, but it's very important that you are pre-approved before you even start looking at homes. And then let me say this, both current homeowners who are interested in selling their homes as well as first-time buyers, they are very internet savvy. And so most consumers, I don't care if you're buying a house or a car or you want a new lawnmower, you've been online and you've been looking, you're comparing brands, you're comparing prices and other amenities when you're talking about a house. If you're looking at, and so when they come to me, they are already so very knowledgeable as to how much house their money can afford. So they've already started that process many times as far as a year or so before they even contact me as a realtor. But that pre-approval process is very important because in the market that we have today, not only do homeowners have an issue with buyers coming to view their homes who have not been pre-approved, realtors also have an issue with buyers contacting them and wanting to go see homes and they have not been pre-approved. It's just not the best use of their time, and I'm just being honest with you. You don't want to spend time searching for homes that match your client's criteria or driving them from house to house, city to city, and then find out that they can't afford a home right now, they need credit repair, or to find out that you've been showing them homes for $250 and they could very well qualify for a home that's $350. That pre-approval is very important, and I will always direct my clients who have not been pre-approved to start there. You start with a credit union or a bank if you have an established relationship with them. If you've purchased a car and you used a particular lender that you were happy with the services, you can always go there. If not, Century 21 Town and Country has an in-house lender, Ross Mortgage Company, that we have a very qualified young lady in the office. She's exclusive to our office that will be willing to talk with you and help you. It's a very simple process though. Very, very simple process. You fill out an application. You're going to be asked for your most recent pay stubs, perhaps 2 of them. They may even ask you for the last 2-year tax returns. And then they're going to want to look at your credit. They're going to ask you to authorize them to pull your credit report. And they may also ask for some information about what your debts are like. Do you have a car loan? Do you have credit cards? Have you ever had a bankruptcy? They're going to ask you questions to better determine what your credit scores and credit value is like. And once they've done that, then they're able to give you a pre-approval. And they'll, from your debt to income ratio, how much money you earn as opposed to how much you're spending every month, they'll determine what type of mortgage you could afford. And once that's done, we're ready to go. There are those situations where some need credit repair. Let's just be honest about it. You've overcharged on your credit cards. You have them up to the max. You've got numerous credit cards, or you haven't been paying your bills on time. And that may prevent you from being qualified for a mortgage, but never say never, because any and everybody can afford to buy a home. It just takes making some changes.
That's good.
And putting things in order. Is your number one priority buying a home, or is it going to buy designer shoes or designer clothes? You have to, and most things in this world that we want we've learned that we have to sacrifice.
That's true.
And
Wow.
nothing comes easy. But anything we want to accomplish, we've also come to know that it can happen.
That's
And
good.
anyone that wants to be a homeowner, it is possible, no matter what you've gone through, no matter where you've been, no matter if you've had bankruptcy, it doesn't matter. Home ownership is something that's possible for all of us. We just have to work towards that goal like we do anything else.
So, Brenda, you have a wealth of knowledge. We're hearing you, you're throwing out a lot of nuggets that we can use. But as I was reading your form that you sent in, you said that you read an influential book. And I know as a realtor, you have to stay educated, you have to stay in the know. So tell us about this influential book that you read and why is it so influential to you?
The name of the book, of one of many, the name of it is The One Thing. And it's written by a gentleman by the name of Gary Keller, who's also really big in real estate. And it just focused so much on, first off, as individuals, we need to identify that one thing that we do better than anything else. And once we discover what that one thing is, we continue to develop it and improve it and expandulate on it. You just keep focused on that one thing and try to stay focused like you've got blinders on. You keep focused on that one thing, really, and you will become better, because that's where you're spending all your time, all your energy, all your day or most of your day, you're spending on focusing on improving and getting better at that one thing. And once you do that, you become very successful.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
Are you in the market for a new or used car? Whether you're in the Metro Detroit area or anywhere in the U.S., call or text me at 248-301-0461. And I'll go to work on getting you the best deal possible. That's right, we're delivered anywhere in the U.S. Call or text me at 248-301-0461.
I'm new and I want to get into the real estate game. What is something that you can tell a person who's interested in being a realtor today? Since you have such a wealth of knowledge, what kind of nuggets will you give that person today?
Is to please come talk to me, because in my position as assistant manager, I love recruiting new realtors. And the first thing I would tell you, let's have a conversation. Let's find out a little bit about your talents, your skills, your desires, what makes you want to be a real estate agent, making sure that you're aware that everything costs money. And to be a real estate agent or realtor, there are certain things that you have to do. You have to pay for your classes. You have to be licensed. And in order to get licensed, you have to go to school. And we have classes through my real estate broker, HRC. And once you complete those classes, if you come to our office and become a member of our staff, then your first 3 closings, we will then reimburse you for the cost of that class. There is another school that we deal with. It's called NCI. If it's not convenient for you to take the classes that are being offered from or through HRC, which is my broker, then you would go to NCI, but you have to get your license first. Once you've obtained your license, then you'll get an opportunity to take the state exam. And I would say with that, don't be discouraged, because I've known people who have had to take it. Most people have had to take it 2 to 3 times, but a realtor that's in our office now recently hired said he had to take it 5 times. But the thing is that he did not quit.
He did not give up.
Not give up. He wants to be a realtor, and he was willing to give whatever it took for him to acquire that license. And he's doing quite well right now.
But Brenda, how do you study for that though? Is there like tests, or, how do they give you a booklet, or is it a pre-test, or?
Most of the real estate schools that you attend now, they will give you a pre-test. I know when I took my classes like almost 23 years ago, the school that I took those classes out is still in business today, Middleton School of Real Estate. And Lori was the owner and she was also my instructor. And we had to pass her test before she would even allow us to go and sit for the state exam. And I think most of the instructors in schools still have that same philosophy today. You know, they're gonna test you there at their school, and if you can pass their test, they feel like you can pass the state exam. And most often you do. Sometimes you don't. You know, but that's not to say that you should be discouraged and not keep pushing and persevering if that's what you want to accomplish.
Brenda, is there one success story that you can share with us today that you've had with your clients? Is there just one that really sticks out?
Gosh, there are so many, Dr. T, I tell you. I guess I would go with my most recent, and it's a success story, not only for myself, but for my clients as well. I just closed on 2 transactions with the same client. I have a client that lived in a home in Southfield for 30 years. The home was very well maintained, very clean, very well decorated, even to the backyard. Everything was just beautiful, very well landscaped. And they were concerned because of the market that we're in, whether or not it would sell right away. I told them, have no fear. As long as we price this house according to market, we're going to sit back and we're going to watch the offers come in. And within the first few days, we had several offers on the property. All of them were above list price. And we had started, as soon as we put the home on the market, we started looking for them a new home. And we must have looked for maybe 2 weeks. But within the same time frame that they got an offer on their home, the buyer had completed the home inspection on their property and said, okay, we're going to go through with this transaction. We are definitely going to buy your house. We found them the home of their dreams. And I tell you, it's just so exciting, you know, to be able to sell one house just like that, get more than list price, turn around. And even though we were faced with multiple offers that came in on the house that they wanted to buy, we wrote our offer in such a way that the homeowner selected us above the other 10 offers that he had received on that property.
That's good.
So that, you know, that's just happiness there. So I tell you, when I call a client and in fact, what I did, I called and I asked my client, I says, is your husband at home? And she said, yeah. I says, is he near you? She said, yeah. I says, we'll get him on the phone. And she says, okay. And they get on the phone. I said, well, I says, I'm the bearer of good news. Your offer was accepted. And they're like, what? It was? Wow. You know, they were so excited. And that's just such a good feeling. Such a good feeling to know that, again, I have helped someone to make their dreams and their goals come true. And that's just one of many stories that I could share with you today. It's such an exciting time for not only my clients, but for me. But again, this is a relationship that's going to be a lifetime. We had fun looking at houses, those that weren't quite what we thought they should be for the asking price. We had laughs about it. We talked about it. We had some fun times. And I really miss not talking to them every day. It's only been I miss not hearing their laughter and, you know, us clowning and having a good time. But yeah, it's that's just one of many stories that I could share with you. I'd like to take a moment, if I may, since Regina mentioned her dad and how he and I met. Now, this is a success story, and it's one that brings a smile to my face all the time. I sold a home in Bloomfield, Maple and Telegraph areas years ago, right, when I first got into the business. And when I sell a home or list one, I always send out just sold or just listed postcards to I send out at least 100 postcards or better to the neighboring houses in the area where the home is being sold or purchased or listed, I should say. And I had sent these postcards out, and Mr. Woodard got one of those postcards, and he called me and he left me a voicemail. He says, Mrs. Davis, this is Mr. Woodard. I received your postcard and I'd like for you to call me. So I called him I got his voicemail. I'm Mr. Woodard. This is Brenda Davis. I'm returning your phone call. Please call me when it's convenient. So a few days passed. I hadn't heard from him, but a few days passed, Dr. T, and he says, Mrs. Davis, this is Mr. Woodard. I left you a voicemail several days ago, and you have yet to return my call. I said, well, Mr. Woodard, yes, I did. I did call you back and I left you a voicemail. But anyway, he checked his voicemail and he found it. But that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship that has brought Regina and I together. And he was just such a wonderful man. He was a wonderful man to work with, a big heart, very professional and businesslike. But I had a lot of fun working with him. And one thing I really appreciated about him, one of the things I appreciate about him is that he asked me for my honest opinion with regards to things he could do to get his house ready to market.
Yeah, put some air in the house.
And everything that I told him, he did it. He did
good.
not hesitate for a moment. And we were able to sell that house. I think the first one or two people that came and looked at the house bought it. And I believe the couple that bought it still lives there now.
But Brenda, remember, we didn't have central air in the house.
I know.
And how do you live in a house in Bloomfield Hills and you have no air? I had conversations like, okay, I'm tired of having the window open. I'm tired of having my fan on. They gave me that look like, you're not paying a mortgage here, right? You need central air. But when Brenda told my dad he needed air, he got air so fast. You know, my stepmother didn't have she didn't have a problem with it. But when I was trying to say air, when I was holding my head out the window in the room, taking the screen out because I was having hot flashes at 16, 17, no, I'm just kidding. At 16, 17 years old, they didn't want to listen to me. And that's I'm laughing because it's, sometimes you have to tell other people who has
on the outside looking in.
Yeah, outside looking in or influencer to do something, what they need to do, and then they do it. But when somebody else just tells them to do it, who they know or one of their loved ones, they don't even listen.
Well, Regina, it also it depends on the time frame in which they were raised in. Because if air wasn't something that you had to have, it just wasn't something you had to have. And so
okay, bring me back. Take me back, Dr. T. Take me back,
because you have
right.
to think about that. Years and years ago, air conditioning wasn't even a thought. If you had a fan, you was good.
That's right.
And so he probably, I'm not saying that he was frugal, but he probably saved his money and he watched how he spent it, I'm sure. And
I was trying to spend it.
Yeah, you were trying to spend it. we new age kids, we don't want to be inconvenienced no kind of way. We want to be cool, right? So
right.
Brenda, I'm laughing because my original question was, why should I choose you? But as I'm listening to you talk to Regina and how heartfelt it is, how you felt about Mr. Woodard and even your customers in general, how you miss talking to them. So that lets me know that you put a personal touch on the way you handle and deal with them. And so that lets me know that you walk them from step to step. And so if I had to say why I would choose you, I would personally say because of the personal touch that you give, because you've shared stories and you've become a part of their family in a way. And so that alone would require me to pick the phone up to call you versus anybody else, because you really are the realtor that has moved me to compassion, even sitting here watching you and Regina interact. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, my clients, they become my friends. They're like a part of the family for me, because when you spend time with people purchasing their home, that's kind of like an intimate relationship that you're establishing there. There's a lot of love and care that goes there. And I take pride in educating my clients and making certain that they're getting the best bang for their buck. If we go and look at a house, I'm not a home inspector, so don't get me wrong. I'm not going to overstep my bounds, just like I'm not a mortgage lender. So I know where my area expertise lies. But when I go into a home and I see that there's water damage in the basement, or if the electrical box has not been updated, any number of things that I can just see visually, I'm going to point those things out to my client. And if they decide, well, we still want to put an offer in, that's fine, but we're going to have a home inspection. And the home inspector that I've worked with, his name is Dwight Stackhouse, but we call him Skip. And the name of his inspection company is Dub Brick House. And he is my expert that I go to, and he will inspect a home, as I mentioned earlier, from the perimeters outside, the roof, the air conditioning. If there's a structural problem, you'll know about it. He does a great job, and he's very, very professional. You can walk on the back of his heels throughout the entire house and ask 999 questions, and he's going to be very patient. He's going to address those questions. He's going to tell you if you need to address this problem right away, if it's very expensive to address, or if it's something that's minor, so it shouldn't affect your desire to purchase this house. But if it's something major, he's going to tell you that too. This looks like a structural problem. You need a structural engineer to take a look at this and to let you know just what's going on. He's just an all-around guy. He's previously been a contractor, a licensed builder. He teaches not only inspection classes, well, I should say taught inspection classes and appraisal classes at the same school that I went to, the Middleton Real Estate School. But he's just a well-rounded guy. He knows his business, and I trust that when he does a home inspection for me, my clients are going to know the ins and outs of the property that they're considering, and that they're going to be happy campers at the end of the day.
That's good.
In closing, Brenda Davis, the realtor who moves you, what's one question that you wish that we had asked, or you just one question you want something you want someone to know?
Something that I want someone to know, and I think I'll just reiterate something that I said earlier.
We need something new. We need something new. Pull it out.
No matter what your current situation is, you can become a homeowner. And it just takes sometimes just putting that goal out in front and doing everything that you need to do to work diligently every day to accomplish that. And, I wish more people would ask me about that, because so many people become discouraged. I mean, my credit is bad. I filed bankruptcy. I lost a job. There are just so many things that people that don't know would consider a barrier. And they consider it a barrier in a way where they feel like home ownership is like something totally impossible for them, but it isn't. So I wish more people would come to me and sit down and let's have a discussion. And I can get you in touch with the people that you need to talk with that can help you, no matter what your situation is, one day be able to enjoy the luxury, the privilege, the joys of home ownership.
So basically you're saying if you're not, you welcome the individuals that are not, you may not be ready now, but you'll still talk to them and you'll be there while they're getting ready. And then when they get ready, of course you'll be there.
For sure. I want to be with you every step of the way.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that about you, because a lot of people, realtors, car salesmen, carswomen, what doesn't matter. They want right now. They're not thinking about eating later or making money later or taking care of people later. They're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. But what you said is you love your customers, where if you're not ready now, then I'm going to be there for you while you're getting ready. And definitely I'm going to be there ready. I'm going to be there when you are ready, and you're not about right now. You're thinking about now, and you're thinking about future business. That's just like I call it money in the bank. Business when you least expect it, money in the bank, because of your relationship that you have built with your customers.
Well, I'd like to just invite all of those listeners and those who are viewing this today that are interested in becoming realtors. Also, I want them to reach out to me. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's see where you are right now, and what we can do to make that possible. Because if that's something that you want to accomplish, you're able to do that. And well, I've been at it for 23 years and I've loved every moment of it. I like it so much because it puts me into direct contact with people that I would have never met before. And we have lifetime relationships now. Not only that, I like looking at houses. I have seen some beautiful houses. I've seen some that aren't so beautiful, that need a little tender love and care. But I've seen, I just couldn't even begin to tell you the types of homes that I've seen. I've looked at homes that are fabulously decorated and some not so. Sold homes in places such as probably Canton, Ypsilanti, Plymouth, Metamora. I've been in Grand Blanc. I've been, you name it, Southfield, Detroit, West Bloomfield, and it's just really made me very knowledgeable as to all the different areas that I've serviced, because if I hadn't worked there, I wouldn't know anything about their market. But it has really been an education and a great experience for me. And it's not like work, and I say that very honestly because I enjoy what I do so much, but it is work. So I don't want to mislead anyone to think, and many young realtors think that they can come in as a realtor and they can work 4 hours a day and they can work 4 days a week and they don't have to work weekends. And, I have to just kind of look at them and say, after a while, how's that going for you? How's that working?
How's that working out? Huh?
It hasn't worked for me, so maybe you can tell me something that I don't know, because you have to make yourself available for your clients.
That's good.
And most people, they're working 9 to 5. That means you're going to be working in the evening. Most people have the weekends off, so there's a good chance that you're going to be working on the weekends, holding a home open on Saturday or Sunday, or taking clients to look at homes, or, even going on listing appointments. So it's a busy type of business, but you get out of it what you put into it. And I will say, first and foremost, if you're not a people person, if you don't like talking to people, if you don't like approaching people to say to a perfect stranger, hey, I'm a real estate agent. What can I do to help you? Is there someone that I can help? Then this is not the business for you. And I'm just being very honest about it. You have to like people and you have to enjoy talking to people.
Yeah, that's some good nuggets. So Brenda, can you give your information one more time for the viewers so that they can know how they can contact you?
Sure. It's Brenda D. Davis, the realtor that moves you. My phone number is 248-909-9711, and the office address is 4820 Rochester Road in Troy, Michigan. You can find me. I do have a website, Brenda D. Davis at century21.com. That's Brenda D. Davis at century21.com. You can find me there. I also have another website. I'm doing some work on it, so I'm not going to give you that number or that address right now, but that's Century 21 website. You can find me.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Thank you for joining us, Brenda Denise Davis, the realtor that moves you. And we want to thank you for listening to the No Limiter podcast. I am your host, the host, Regina, the Queen of Caroline's. Wait a minute, Regina Eileen Woodard. And who?
Dr. Teresa Moore.
All right, we'll talk to you. We'll see you, or you'll listen to us real soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the No Limiter Podcast with Regina Eileen Woodard. Remember to subscribe and review the No Limiter Podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and the No Limiter Podcast YouTube channel. Every listen and review helps to get this podcast out to as many no limiters like you as possible.